by getting that customer feedback, by starting initially saying, hey, let's talk to our customers, let's develop relationships with them, let's ask them what they're doing, where their business is going, what kind of features and functionality they need. That's always allowed us to kind of be driven in the right direction for what we're building.
Welcome to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of the seven figure journey. Today, we get to have with us Ray McKenzie, who's calling in out of California. His business is Starting Point. Ray, thanks for joining the show. Welcome.
No, thanks for having me on, David. It's a pleasure.
Well, we love diving into what entrepreneurs work on, what they're doing. Just tell us a little bit, see if I get this right. I mean, you've got a software in place for everyone who's like in the professional services, consulting, doing projects for other businesses. You've got a sweet system for them to manage all of the data from new customer acquisition, all the workflow, using AI and other things to help them make sense of it, improve efficiency, not drop customer issues that are going on, and really just deliver. And is that a software you built or just represent?
Yeah, no, it's the software I built. So background for me, I spent a long career in corporate, working for, publicly traded and privately owned tech companies. And I used to lead a lot of service delivery groups. So professional services, tech services, network services, sales engineering organizations, things like that. And then about 10 years ago, I started my own management consulting firm. So I kind of broke off. Was two CEOs called me and said, Ray, we need some help. And so that's kind of how I fell into consulting. And so over the years, built that consulting firm up, which is Red Beach Advisors. And clients of ours have been Amazon, Hewlett Packard, Microsoft, Zoom, Cargill, State Farm, Okta, a lot in the cybersecurity and cloud computing space. And then as my firm continued to grow and expand with people and engagements and consultants and team members and data and data and data, I found myself still doing the same practice that I had when I was leading service organizations for large companies, which was, hey, I've got to meet with my team and then tell me everything you're doing Monday, tell me how the week went on Friday, send me an email or send me a Word document or something like that to tell me everything that's going on with these accounts. And so I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. And then it just continued to layer on problems within my firm, which is transparency between clients and us and our outreach to us and clients. And then understanding at any point if one of our clients calls and speaks to me or speaks to possibly you can log in and tell them and help them immediately. I mean, we went through a period with COVID and sickness and the pandemic and people movement and changes and career changes and things like that. And the transfer of knowledge between people across accounts was becoming an issue. And so we started building what is now called Starting Point. Started building an application just for my own firm, but then started building kind of a workflow management platform that encompassed everything end to end for professional services and shared services teams. So that at any point, anybody in those teams can support those clients or customers or provide some sort of support in any way, shape, or form.
And
Um,
that's really cool. And is it just for the internal team to be able to share with the customer, or is it the customer can also just sort of log in and see, oh, here's the updates of what's going on?
Yep, it's designed so that the client doesn't have to say, "Hey, David, where are we at with this engagement?"
That's awesome.
So the
I swear.
client can log in. The client can log in, has a single point of contact for your firm, but they also have the consultants they're working with or team members they're specifically working with. But they have kind of a branded portal that looks and feels like your company that they can log into, that they can get answers to their specific questions on demand.
That's cool. I swear. Like, so I've worked in professional services pretty much all my career, and that has got to be like 25% of our meeting is catching up stuff.
That's pretty much it. I mean,
Right.
in our career, it was just let's meet Monday. Let's talk about what you're working on. Let's talk about the developments or what's coming up this upcoming week, kind of where things are progressing. And then on Friday, give me kind of another rundown as to everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So imagine if you are a leader of a professional services team or something like that, they have the ability to just go get the answers yourself from an executive point of view. You have the ability to just get that information on demand. And
Yeah.
so,
That's
that's
awesome.
what our
Yeah.
software is designed to do.
That's fantastic. And, I could see its application and the value that it brings. So it's great that you built it. But it's not just product market fit. You've got that now. You're growing your business. You guys have, I mean, you passed your $1 million mark on this new software business a little while back, even. Um, and with another business, you've probably done it in the consulting side, right? So you've done this a couple rounds. What kind of lessons have you learned that you could share with us? You're like, since passing the $1 million mark, here's some of the things that have helped me continue to grow it to double to triple.
I think one of the things is always listen to your clients and customers, which is have that feedback loop, have that customer advisory board, have those people that can kind of not only just say, hey, this is what we want in our product going forward, or this is where our business is going, but also they can give you feedback in terms of things where you want to go in the future too. And maybe it aligns with their company and maybe it doesn't. But I think consistently having that list of customer feedback is important.
And,
Um,
and how do you make sure you're getting enough of that? Like, did you have little practices you did? Like the advisory board, for instance, was that an annual thing? Did you get them to meet regularly? What's that look like for you?
I think it starts from the beginning of kind of the organization, the inception of it. I think one of the core values of our business is listening to customers. And so we set that mission and that core value from the beginning, which is, if I've been in organizations before where you have product managers and people that think they know it all, and they go back in the room, and for instance, you have somebody who's a chef, and he's like, I know what people want, and he goes in the kitchen and he whips something up. He whips something up for a dinner party, and next thing you know, he comes out to the dinner party and sits down with everybody, 8 people, and everybody's like, we're allergic to what you just made.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, my dish is spectacular. And they're like, well, it could kill us. And so, by getting that customer feedback, by starting initially saying, hey, let's talk to our customers, let's develop relationships with them, let's ask them what they're doing, where their business is going, what kind of features and functionality they need, that's always allowed us to kind of be driven in the right direction for what we're building.
Yeah.
And so we've had that from the beginning. And so another best practice or lesson learned is implement your mission and values in the business very early, along with everybody that comes into the business too,
Yeah.
and make sure they clearly understand what that is so that everybody's going in the right direction. you
Oh,
know
I mean, what a
it's
nugget. Ray, what's the cost when you fail to bring everyone in line with that vision
oh,
and mission?
that's exponential. I think one, it could damage the cost is, you could put a number on it, but you damage the culture of the business, because that person who comes in is, human nature is people are going to pick sides sometimes. And some people are going to say, hey, I'm going to go with Ray. Sometimes people are going to say, hey, I'm going to go with David. So if you bring in somebody in the business who's not aligned with that mission or those values of the business, then they get a chance to kind of poison or infiltrate the culture in the business. And then next, you have an inherent divide that happens, which is, hey, I'm going to go with David now. David's right. David's talking the language I want to hear. This is what's going on. The business is going in this direction, and Ray wants to do this over here. And then you have a divide. And if you don't nip that divide in quickly, it just continues to spread. And so I think that's another core piece of kind of growing the business, is making sure, one, everybody's aligned with your mission and values in the business. And also listening to your customers. Like, I can't
Wow.
say any more about that, which is, they'll tell you, I'd say this: the one thing that is free are people's opinions. If you ask somebody how they feel about something, they're more than likely going to tell you. And they're not going to charge you for telling you how they feel. And so listen to customers, ask for their opinions, align mission and values inside the business, and that hopefully gets everybody moving in the right direction.
No, I love that. And I think it's funny. I mean, they're lessons we've always known, but we sometimes we set it aside a little like, oh yeah, I already proved I have product market fit. I know my stuff's right. So I'm not spending time listening to customers as much now. Now I'm doing my thing. And what a missed opportunity. In fact, the whole market could shift and we wouldn't even know it. Or worse yet,
Yeah,
just some things that we could have capitalized on that we never touched because we're blind to it. So they told
yeah,
someone else who did act on it. Now we lose customers.
exactly. That's really it. I think if you lose touch with the people you're servicing or the industry or the role you're servicing in any way, shape, or form, especially now with technology and the developments and how things are coming out, things change so rapidly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, if you don't have, you may have had the most popular software 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, but there's more than likely something that's coming up where you stop being agile and stop being flexible and take a long time to iterate on your software and add the features and functionality and where the market's going. So I think that's always a big thing with us, which is just listen to your client and customer,
Yeah.
get
That's
their
powerful.
feedback.
And then on the
Well,
other side, now internally, if you're listening well to your client and customer, but your team is going different directions because you failed to hire, lead, or fire the people that needed to be to keep that culture strong, you could be torn up from the inside. You have a great
yep,
business on the outside and lose all your profitability, lose half your clients, lose a good chunk of your team as they split off and go a different direction. Or
yeah,
worse yet, if they stay and just poison the well.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, they just can inherently continue to create that divide.
Yeah.
And that difference in terms of where people should go or what people are doing, that can cause a lot of problems.
It's so easy to see in like a sports team. We watch it.
Mhm.
You're like, oh man, they are not playing very unified.
Yeah,
And
like
and they
that
fail, right?
quarterback and wide receiver are not seeing eye to eye.
They're not.
Then it's not you're not going to see a lot of good results out there.
Exactly. You can have the top performers in their space not aligned working together. Do not beat the average team that's fully aligned. Let's be
Very true.
aligned, right? Let's be aligned. Powerful stuff. Well, Ray, I mean, you shared some great insights. It The fun thing about being an entrepreneur is we jump one hurdle just means that on the other side we have a bigger hurdle to now leap over, right? Like that's the name of the game and it's fun. But what hurdles are you facing now that maybe we can be of help to you?
I think a big hurdle that, and not only myself but other entrepreneurs are dealing with is, I think finding right people.
Yeah.
I think I don't necessarily know if it's necessarily a generational gap between people. We come from one way, a work style, communication style, a motivation for us, and motivation differs for people. Uh, and then finding the right people that you kind of connect with. Finding good people is tough. Well, I won't say finding good people. I'd say finding good people who are also aligned and have the same motivation as you.
Yeah. Um,
You know,
what are
and
you
that's
what are you
go ahead.
doing? What are you doing right now to solve that? Because I mean, you're right. And in a either professional services or a software as a service, it's people that are driving our growth. Like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
demand's actually out there. Until you're in the $100 million space, don't think about market share. You got nothing. There's plenty to go and gobble up, right? So
Yep.
the demand's
Exactly.
there. It's people. Can I get the right people to help drive this? What are you doing right now, so that if I share an idea or two, I can I don't repeat things you're already taking care of.
Yeah. It's I'd say for people, I always inherently start with my personal network of people. Um, we came, I'd say, gosh, when we worked, we're similar in age. We were in the office 8 to 5,
Yeah.
9 to 6, 7 to 6, 7 to 7. There wasn't as much remote work. Towards the tail end of corporate career, you started to have more WebEx and more Skype and things like that. And then obviously the world has boomed in terms of that, and communication in the workplace has changed. So the values that we had growing up are very different than the younger workforce now. They treasure more of their time. They treasure flexibility and where they work and how they work, and the times that they work and things like that. We didn't have those options when we were starting. It was, hey, you need to be here at this time. You're going to be here at least until this time.
Yeah.
And so the communication style, understanding that, hey, you do need to deliver results, but we also still want to make sure this is a place you want to work and you're motivated to working with us, and you follow along with our values and our mission of what we want to do. That's it. It's different. It's a little bit more difficult. It is more like kind of speed dating to a certain extent in terms of trying to find the right person for the organization. I think, and other CEOs I've talked to, they put a job listing out there, they're getting anywhere from 100 to 500 different resumes around that. And so, how do you sift through those 500 to try to find the right person for the role? So gosh, there's a term
Okay.
that
I get
several
it.
years ago, ghosting, all that stuff. I
I,
mean, I could
I,
go on for a
I
long
I
time,
think you're
man.
speaking our language. Like we are hearing this, right? I think everyone on this show is like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. And it may not just be generational. I mean, the
Yeah.
challenges are real with how easy it is for people to apply for a job. We do get inundated. And not with great people all the time. Just a lot of
Yeah,
garbage.
people, I'd say this to your point. I think motivation of people has changed too.
Yeah.
Like, I talked to two people, I talked to two different CEOs yesterday, and they were like, yeah, we used to live in the Northeast and we just went to Florida and up and just moved because that's just what we wanted to do lifestyle wise. So their motivation just changed. And a lot of people have that. Back, people didn't move as often.
Well, you moved when work told you to move,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right? You didn't move for lifestyle unless you were retired.
Yeah, you didn't move. You didn't move for lifestyle. You didn't just move just thinking, "Hey, I can go get a job in anywhere other location: Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
Detroit, Washington D.C., Tampa, Florida." You moved for your job. Nowadays, people will literally just up and relocate at any time based upon whatever their personal motivations are.
Good. So let's dive into this personal motivation piece because I think this is our secret. And we're going to pull from some strength that you already have to pull this off.
Okay.
We do such a great job, or we think we do, at listening to our customers and understanding the underlying motivation of why they buy or choose to do business with us. And then we put an incredible amount of focus and attention into just the right messaging. The messaging that doesn't just say, buy my widget for these features, but instead says, become this kind of person, have this kind of success, enjoy this kind of happiness
Mhm.
because you're part of something greater, right? Like we get into, we really take it up there, especially if you go to like clothing brands, personal identity stuff tied with it. Like we get really good at this. We spend a lot of time on websites. We spend a lot of time and energy on social, on other places to ensure the messaging is clear, that the path is an easy step, one at a time, pulling in just the right buyer, pushing the others away. People are just going to kick the tires and not buy. Our stuff kind of weeds them out. We get our salespeople only talking to just the right people,
Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
And then in our hiring, what do? Put something on Indeed, hope someone buys it. And what do we tell them? Here's all the features. You've got
Yeah.
this is your job description. These 20 things we expect you to do. You need to have this kind of background. Here's our company, blah, 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 blah. Here's the benefits listing. Come and apply.
Yeah.
Not touching at all about the major things that drive decision making, which
Mm-hmm.
are emotional things that drive
Mm-hmm.
decision making in. And so here's a system we've used, and hopefully there's pieces you can pull from it. You've already talked about some really cool things. I was like, oh, good. Ray can take this. He's got this strength too. You talked about your vision, and you were talking about some of your culture, but specifically some core values. And I also want you to think about what my purpose is, because what generation now is looking for is actually the same as generation then was looking for. And I'm not going to do specifics because the research is showing no change.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it shows up. So we're all looking for purpose or meaning.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know that what we do matters. Um, and if at our 9 to 5 job or 8 to 5 or 7 to 7, whatever length of time this is, if our day job doesn't fulfill it, then when we clock out, we check out. In fact, even when we're clocked in, we're doing things to find
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're constantly searching for meaning or purpose. We're constantly searching for belonging. And that's where your core values can come into play. And we're
Mm-hmm.
constantly searching for a sense of contribution,
Mm-hmm.
that
Impact.
impact, that I make a difference. So let's pull this out. Do we have a vision that answers those questions in a powerful way for the clients, employees that we want to come and work for us? Because you think about it, our business, our employees are our customers. They're coming to buy from us. Purpose, belonging, sense of contribution. They give us
Mm-hmm.
their time. We give them the resources to care for what they care most about. And if we also give them something to care about while they're here, now we start to win.
Yeah.
Has a powerful impact. So let's take these marketing, the know-how we have in sales and marketing, and let's move it to the employee space. So messaging.
Yeah.
When you've got a job posting, is it a full web page? You can scroll up and down. Can they see? Can they see testimonials of current employees and what it means to them? Does it say things like, "Hey, you want to help realize potential for thousands of people?" That's what we do every day, right? Do you want to come and whatever your purpose is, help them see they get to come and do something special. It's not just professional services.
Yep.
We're changing lives, or we're rocking this industry, or we're going to upend what's always been done. Whatever that purpose is that your team really loves and they actually get jazzed about, we want to first live it, and then second, advertise it.
Mm-hmm.
Advertise the credit out of that. Let's get the full website going on there. Let's talk about some of these key things in our LinkedIn, in our socials. Is it out there? Do our team members comment on it? Are we building a brand? Because people want to buy into something that's more than a job. They'll take the job, but all you're going to get is the time you physically purchased from them, not
Exactly.
necessarily their effectiveness, not their
Mm-hmm.
heart, and definitely not their discretionary effort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Oh, that's entirely, and that's good insight. Definitely good insight for sure.
there's a first thing. Let's get the posting that it oozes. If you're this, if you love this, and if you embody these kinds of values, like if you want everybody to see exactly how you perform every day, if you want that kind of insight and transparency into your work, because you're all that, come work here. We're a full
And
transparency
some
place.
people may say no.
Exactly. And we hope they do.
Yeah, very
Because
true.
what did we have? We had those hundreds of people that were the wrong ones showing up. We need our vision, our purpose, our values, our mission to be such a strong, measurable magnet that it either repels people who don't belong or draws people who do.
Mm-hmm.
That's a first start, is to do that well. So first set it, live it. Then get your marketing hat on there and let's put
Yeah,
it
I think
out there.
that's good. That's good insight. Good insight for sure.
What's fun is when you've got it and you're starting to just live it all the time, your team members start to say, wow, this is different. they'll be the only ones at the game that are bragging about the place they work at instead of, you know, bagging on it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be the only
Yep.
one at Thanksgiving dinner doing the same. Guess where some of your new employees are coming from? It's the ones who fit. Because your team's
Yeah.
gonna be like, yes, yes, no, no, yes, right? Like these are the ones
Yeah.
that fit because we know who we are. It's not just a job, and I'm not going to mess with it with my wrong friend in here because not all my friends belong here.
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah, I mean that's right. That's right.
So those would be my first little pieces. What would you like to know more in depth on that in a practical sense that maybe I could help you with?
No, no additional questions. I think it speaks towards driving towards, belonging, the internal motivations that people have,
That's right.
and trying to align some of those behavioral aspects to people too.
Yeah. And not
You know,
just
which,
belonging, but performing.
yeah.
Everyone wants to be a winner. Show them what it means to win and how you have it set
Mhm.
up so they can, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, agree. That's good insight.
Cool. Of course, this plays out in a lot of other spaces, but that would be that first thing. You want to get the right talent. Let's build. This will age us. You need a tractor beam that locks on and pulls them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in a conversation yesterday, I used the word Rolodex.
Yeah, I love that. Said that word myself yesterday. We were on the same wavelength. So, but that's the idea, right? I love that you're starting with the people you know in your network because you tend to be surrounded by people who value the things you value.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Or you at least, at the very least, obviously if you're on social media, you can keep up with those people
yeah,
and kind of understand if they're still at that stage that you are in life as well.
yeah,
To where they're still excited, they're still motivated, they're still looking to make impact, they're still looking to, break barriers, things like that.
yeah,
Social media tells a lot about those people.
yeah.
So
You can use those and use them to your advantage. Draw people in and how you talk about it, what you do, get your team commenting, do what you can to make sure that you're being truthful and really loud about the culture that you really have. Um,
yep.
if it's misaligned, if you're out there advertising you've got it and you don't, man, the hypocrisy flag flies up the moment they sign on, they sign off. So
Yeah.
that's not a win. So first, identify really who you are and live it. Then let's get those words out there. We have not found, and this is across pretty much every industry. Um, I say pretty much. We don't work with every industry, but we work with a lot of them across most every industry in uptime, downtime, difficult hiring, easy hiring, floods of people, nobody coming through. That the people who did this always had talent lined up at the door and the
Okay.
right
Yeah, I
ones.
can see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So, same idea. You've got a pipeline for sales. Let's get a pipeline for people. Every one of our leaders should be having lunches, not just for deals and learning, but for who do I need to bring in for those key hires, right?
Yeah.
Who have they
Yeah.
got on their list? Let's manage that pipeline. Let's see how we move them down through. So when a position opens, now I've got people. I've got people lined up. We've got the right ones knocking on the door already. Okay, that's going to probably wrap up our thing. But Ray, I hope there is enough value for you in our time today. I love what you do. How do people get in touch with you or sign up for your product or use that if they're in that professional service space, especially?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. First and foremost, our website www.startingpoint.ai. So they're able to go check out our software, kind of see our offering, kind of review all of that information. And then there's channels on our website to where you can get in touch with us if you're interested in the product. If you're interested in connecting with me directly, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. Raymond McKenzie, you'll find me there. And I'm always willing to kind of meet new people, have different conversations, talk to people. And so let's see how we can kind of get to know each other a little bit more.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for the support you're bringing to the community. That wraps up this episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast. We hope you found as much value as I did in talking with Ray and some of the nuggets he shared. and things we learned with him. If you did, please like, share, do what's necessary to share with other seven-figure business owners so they too can overcome the hurdles they're facing and continue to create the enormous value that small business creates in this world. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, keep learning, and keep caring.